Are you giving your emotions the attention they deserve, or have you unknowingly been neglecting yourself? It's a question worth pondering, especially in a world that often values productivity over introspection. In this video, we'll uncover 4 Stoic warning signs that reveal emotional neglect, signs that, if ignored, can hinder your journey toward inner peace. But more importantly, we'll explore how addressing these signs can lead to a more balanced and fulfilling life. By understanding these subtle indicators and aligning with Stoic principles, you'll gain tools to nurture your emotional well-being and embrace a life of harmony and purpose. The Stoics understood emotions not as obstacles to be eliminated, but as signals to be acknowledged and managed with wisdom. For them, the aim was not suppression, but mastery, transforming emotional responses into opportunities for growth and understanding. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This philosophy underscores the importance of acknowledging emotions rather than burying them beneath layers of pretense. Suppression often masquerades as control, but it breeds an undercurrent of turmoil. Ignoring emotions doesn't make them vanish, it drives them into the subconscious, where they fester and emerge in more destructive ways. A person who suppresses anger, for instance, may eventually find themselves overwhelmed by resentment or bitterness, affecting relationships and mental health. Emotional neglect isn't Stoic. It's an evasion of reality. The Stoic approach to emotions involves a triad of acknowledgement, observation, and transformation. When confronted with a strong emotion, the first step is to name it. By identifying what you feel, be it anger, sadness, or anxiety, you disrupt its power to overwhelm. Epictetus advised, "Don't let the force of an impression carry you away. Say to it, 'Hold up a moment, let me see who you are and what you represent.'" Once acknowledged, emotions must be observed with detachment. This practice is akin to standing on the shore and watching waves roll in. You don't dive into the waves or resist them, instead you let them come and go. Journaling, a Stoic exercise used by figures like Marcus Aurelius, can be a powerful tool here. Writing about emotions creates a space between the self and the feeling, enabling clarity and perspective. The third step is transformation. This doesn't mean erasing the emotion, but redirecting its energy into constructive channels. For example, anger, when understood, can motivate action against injustice, while sadness can foster empathy and introspection. By aligning emotional responses with reason, the Stoic transforms raw feelings into purposeful actions. Ignoring this process leads to emotional suppression, a habit that erodes inner peace over time. Consider the case of a man who consistently suppresses his frustration at work. He tells himself it's unimportant, yet his body and mind bear the weight of this denial. Over time, suppressed frustration manifests as chronic stress, impacting his health and relationships. Alternatively, a woman who avoids acknowledging her grief might find herself unable to connect deeply with others, the unprocessed pain becoming a barrier to vulnerability. Stoicism offers practical strategies to counter such outcomes. The practice of premeditatio malorum, visualizing potential difficulties, helps build emotional resilience. By imagining challenging scenarios and rehearsing calm responses, you prepare yourself for life's inevitabilities, reducing the intensity of emotional shocks. Similarly, the dichotomy of control reminds you to focus on what you can influence and let go of what you cannot, a principle that alleviates anxiety and frustration. Mindfulness, though not explicitly Stoic in origin, aligns beautifully with their philosophy. Pausing to take a few deliberate breaths when overwhelmed brings you back to the present, creating a moment to engage reason before reacting. This simple practice, combined with Stoic reflection, nurtures a healthier relationship with emotions. Real-life examples illustrate the stark contrast between suppression and management. Imagine a father faced with a rebellious teenager. Suppressing his irritation might lead to an explosive confrontation later, but acknowledging his frustration and reflecting on it could enable a reasoned and empathetic response. Similarly, a person overwhelmed by fear of failure might suppress their anxiety, only to find it paralyzing their efforts. By confronting the fear and breaking it down through logical reasoning, they could transform it into motivation. In essence, suppressing emotions is a denial of humanity, while managing them is a path to mastery. Stoicism doesn't demand that you feel less. It encourages you to feel wisely. By embracing the Stoic approach, you gain not only emotional clarity, but also the resilience to face life with equanimity, turning every challenge into an opportunity for growth. The core of Stoic philosophy revolves around the dichotomy of control, the clear distinction between what lies within our power and what does not. Epictetus articulated this principle succinctly. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. This wisdom is a guiding light for navigating a world fraught with external dependencies, which, if unchecked, can lead to emotional neglect and turmoil. Over-identifying with external events, be it the opinions of others, societal expectations, or material outcomes, can trap us in a cycle of unnecessary suffering. When we tie our self-worth to external factors, we surrender control over our emotional well-being. Imagine someone whose happiness depends on receiving constant validation from peers. While fleeting praise may bring satisfaction, its absence leaves a void, amplifying insecurity and discontent. Such dependence breeds emotional instability because it hinges on variables beyond our influence. Stoicism teaches us to ground our identity not in externalities, but in the strength of our character and the virtue of our actions. Recognizing the signs of over-identifying with external events is crucial. One common indicator is the undue impact of others' opinions. For example, feeling devastated by criticism or excessively elated by compliments suggests an over-reliance on external validation. Similarly, becoming excessively anxious about outcomes, whether in work, relationships, or personal projects, signals a fixation on what lies beyond your control. Such attachments divert energy from meaningful self-reflection and impede the pursuit of inner peace. Emotional neglect emerges when we allow external forces to dictate our feelings. A person overly invested in their social image might neglect their inner needs, sacrificing authenticity for approval. Over time, this disconnection from oneself creates an emotional void, as life becomes a performance tailored to others rather than a journey of self-discovery. Stoicism offers practical exercises to counter this tendency and reclaim emotional independence. The first step is to internalize the dichotomy of control. Reflect on situations that cause you distress and categorize their elements. What aspects can you influence and what are beyond your reach? By focusing only on the former, you conserve mental energy and reduce unnecessary worry. The practice of negative visualization is another powerful tool. By imagining the loss of things you value, whether material possessions, status, or relationships, you cultivate gratitude for the present and loosen your grip on external dependencies. This exercise isn't about pessimism, but about gaining perspective, reminding yourself that your essence remains intact, even without external adornments. Detachment doesn't mean indifference. Rather, it's the ability to engage with the world without being enslaved by it. Journaling can help you develop this mindset. Dedicate a few minutes each day to reflect on how you responded to external events. Were your reactions governed by reason, or did you allow externalities to dictate your emotions? Over time, this practice sharpens self-awareness and builds resilience. Another powerful Stoic exercise is self-inquiry. Ask yourself, why do I care so deeply about this external factor? Does it truly define me? Such questions pierce through emotional fog and reveal the underlying assumptions driving your dependence. For instance, if you find yourself upset by someone's criticism, examine whether their opinion truly reflects your worth or simply highlights their perspective. Consider the example of a professional whose self-esteem is tied to career success. A single failure might leave them feeling unworthy, consumed by the fear of judgment. By shifting focus to the effort they exerted, something within their control, they can find solace and maintain their sense of purpose. Similarly, a parent who over-identifies with their child's achievements may feel personally shattered by setbacks. By recognizing that their role lies in guidance, not control, they can detach from outcomes while still offering support. Ultimately, over-identifying with external events is a form of self-imposed bondage, chaining our emotional state to factors we cannot master. The Stoics invite us to break free, grounding our identity in virtue rather than circumstance. By focusing on what is within your control and detaching from external dependencies, you nurture emotional independence, a key to living a life of tranquility and resilience. The practice of self-reflection holds a central place in Stoic philosophy, serving as a bridge between the external world and our inner selves. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, exemplified this through daily introspection, using his writings to examine thoughts, behaviors, and emotions. This practice wasn't merely an intellectual exercise, but a tool for emotional awareness and self-mastery. Through self-reflection, the Stoics believed, we uncover the truth of who we are and align our actions with reason and virtue. Neglecting self-reflection creates a chasm between the self and one's emotions. When we avoid looking inward, our feelings and motivations operate in the background, often unchecked and misunderstood. Over time, this neglect leads to emotional disconnection, making it difficult to identify the root of our struggles. A person who sidesteps introspection might find themselves repeatedly anxious or irritable without understanding why, attributing these emotions to external circumstances rather than unresolved internal conflicts. The absence of introspection also stifles personal growth. By failing to evaluate our choices and responses, we miss opportunities to learn from experiences, leaving us stuck in repetitive patterns. Avoiding reflection is akin to navigating life without a compass, reacting impulsively rather than deliberately, and losing sight of the values that ground us. Stoic journaling is one of the most effective techniques for cultivating self-awareness and emotional clarity. It transforms reflection into a structured practice, offering a space to confront thoughts and emotions honestly. Here's how to approach it. Evening reflection. End your day by reviewing your actions, thoughts, and emotions. Ask yourself, what did I do well today? Where did I fall short? How can I improve tomorrow? This nightly practice, encouraged by Epictetus, allows you to identify patterns and set intentions for growth. Emotional inquiry. When strong emotions arise, use journaling to explore their origins. Write down what triggered the emotion, how you reacted, and whether your response aligned with your principles. This process helps you separate fleeting impressions from reasoned judgments. Gratitude and goals. Balance introspection with positivity by noting what you're grateful for and the values you aim to embody. Gratitude grounds you in the present, while goals provide a sense of direction. Hypothetical reflection. Imagine future challenges and your ideal responses. This exercise prepares you to face difficulties with composure, reinforcing the Stoic principle of resilience. Historical and modern examples illuminate the transformative power of self-reflection. Marcus Aurelius himself, though an emperor burdened with immense responsibility, used daily journaling to remain grounded and guide his actions with wisdom. His reflections on humility, mortality, and duty continue to inspire countless individuals. Consider also the story of Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist. Though not a Stoic in the traditional sense, his approach to introspection mirrors their philosophy. In the depths of unimaginable suffering, Frankl turned inward, reflecting on his values and the meaning he could create in his circumstances. His insights, chronicled in Man's Search for Meaning, underscore the importance of self-reflection in reclaiming agency over one's emotional life. In contemporary times, journaling has helped many people overcome personal crises. For instance, a professional overwhelmed by career pressures might use self-reflection to identify the root of their anxiety, not the workload itself, but their fear of inadequacy. By journaling, they can confront these fears, reevaluate their self-worth, and approach challenges with a renewed sense of confidence. Similarly, a person grappling with strained relationships might reflect on their role in the conflicts. By acknowledging their own biases or reactions, they gain clarity and take steps toward reconciliation, breaking cycles of blame and resentment. Neglecting self-reflection is akin to ignoring a mirror. Without it, we cannot see ourselves clearly. Stoicism teaches that through introspection, we deepen our understanding of who we are, recognize our emotional needs, and align our lives with reason and virtue. Self-reflection doesn't just illuminate our flaws, it reveals our strengths and aspirations, guiding us toward a life of authenticity and inner peace. The commitment to daily reflection, though simple in concept, is profound in its impact. It fosters emotional awareness, reconnects us with our values, and nurtures resilience. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. By embracing the practice of self-reflection, we ensure that the hues of our inner world are painted with wisdom, gratitude, and purpose. In Stoic philosophy, the concept of emotional boundaries is essential for preserving inner peace and maintaining a balanced life. The Stoics emphasized the importance of recognizing what lies within your control and what does not. By establishing clear boundaries, you shield yourself from being overwhelmed by the demands and emotions of others, allowing reason and virtue to guide your actions. As Epictetus wisely stated, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Failing to set emotional boundaries often stems from a desire to please others or avoid conflict. However, this can lead to overextension and eventual emotional exhaustion. When you continually prioritize the needs of others at the expense of your own well-being, you risk losing touch with your inner self. Signs of overextension include feeling drained after interactions, constant worry about others' opinions, or a sense of obligation that leaves little room for personal growth. Recognizing these signs is the first step toward reclaiming emotional independence. The Stoic approach calls for introspection. Are your actions driven by genuine care or a fear of disapproval? Have you allowed others' emotions to dictate your state of mind? By answering these questions, you can identify areas where boundaries are lacking. Establishing and maintaining boundaries requires both clarity and consistency. Begin by defining your values and priorities. These form the foundation of your boundaries. If a request or expectation conflicts with your principles or well-being, it is within your right to decline. Remember, setting limits is not an act of selfishness, but of self-respect. Practical steps for maintaining boundaries include assertive communication. Clearly and calmly express your limits to others. Use statements like, "I need time to recharge," or "I can't take this on right now," to convey your needs without guilt. Time management. Allocate specific time for yourself, free from external obligations. Treat this time as sacred, prioritizing activities that restore your energy and align with your goals. Emotional detachment. While empathy is valuable, avoid absorbing others' emotions as your own. Stoic exercises, such as the dichotomy of control, help you remain compassionate without compromising your peace. Regular reflection. Periodically evaluate your boundaries. Are they being respected? Are you honoring them consistently? Adjust as needed to ensure they remain effective. Setting boundaries not only protects against emotional exhaustion, but also nurtures self-awareness and self-worth. When you establish limits, you affirm your value as an individual, reinforcing your capacity to act with reason rather than being swayed by external pressures. Consider the example of a caregiver who overextends themselves by taking on everyone's burdens. Without boundaries, they risk burnout, leaving them unable to care for others or themselves effectively. By setting clear limits, such as delegating tasks or scheduling breaks, they can fulfill their responsibilities without neglecting their well-being. In essence, emotional boundaries are a form of self-preservation, enabling you to engage with the world from a place of strength and stability. Through the Stoic practice of boundary setting, you cultivate inner tranquility, ensuring that your energy is directed toward what truly matters, living a life of virtue, purpose, and peace. Recognizing these warning signs is the first step toward emotional renewal and growth. By becoming aware of these patterns and applying Stoic wisdom, you can create a more balanced and fulfilling life. Embrace these Stoic insights and start nurturing your emotional well-being today. True strength lies in balancing reason and emotion, an art Stoicism can help you master, guiding you toward a life of inner peace and resilience.